And Commission meeting. It is December 17th at 3 p.m. We're meeting in the Tom Baker Room, and we've got a crew here. So, Annie, you want to call a roll?
Commissioner Zenker.
Here.
Commissioner Hull.
Here.
Commissioner Pursley. Commissioner Swanson.
Here.
Commissioner Nodland.
Here.
Commissioner Sackerson.
Here.
Chair Engel.
Here. So in your packets, there is the historic preservation reports, just a list of things that we have commented on this past year, and nothing new under that one, I don't believe. Are there people from the audience and the public that would like to speak at this meeting? Nobody online? No?
You sure? We've never had it.
I know, right? We actually have a member in the audience, not to put her on the spot, but hi, welcome. Okay, so no public comment, so we'll go to the review of the meeting minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
All right, any discussion or comments or corrections? Hearing none, you can call it.
Commissioner Nodland.
Here. Yes.
Commissioner Sackerson.
Yeah. Here. Yes.
Commissioner Swanson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hull.
Yes.
Commissioner Zenker.
Yes.
Chair Engel.
Yes. All right, approval of the minutes is done. Moving on to the regular agenda, we are going to have a discussion about the Historic Preservation Award. Oh,
Hello, hi.
You were really quick to the podium. I didn't even see you move. Okay.
Thank you, Chair Engel and Commissioners. The Historic Preservation Commission requested a revision to the Historic Preservation Award criteria at their May 2025 meeting, seeking more objective standards with which to evaluate nominations. As a reminder, only projects completed within the past 3 years would be eligible to apply for this. So staff did meet with Commissioner Swanson, Sackerson, and Nodland in a meeting that was publicly noticed. And that was to review both a revision to the categories, so historic building sites, adaptive reuse, and public awareness and education, as well as updated criteria for each of those. A draft nomination form, an internal evaluation form with criteria for each of those categories, and a timeline of the process for the awards solicitation are included in the packet. In order to avoid public notice requirements for meetings for nomination and review for that selection, staff would suggest only 2 historic preservation commissioners be part of the 2026 award selection process prior to the final selection being approved by this commission here. As well as those 2 historic preservation commissioners, staff from the planning department would be involved in that selection process as well. So there are 3 items for consideration with a staff recommendation for an action. So 1 is to approve the revised award categories and nomination form. 2 is to approve the award criteria for the internal use by the selection group. And 3 would be to choose 2 historic preservation commissioners to be part of the 2026 award selection.
Thank you, Lauren. Has everybody had a chance to review this? Yes.
I just have one question, Chair Engel, Commissioners. So last year, just refresh me, I think there was just 1 applicant, right? So is that part of, we're gonna change that up a little bit to make sure that we get more than 1, or do we solicit these? How does that all, how do we make sure we get good applications?
Great question, Commissioner Zenker, Chair Commissioners. So yes, we did receive only 1 nomination last year. Typically, what we did last year, we didn't really go out and ask people to apply. The entity that did apply, they came to us, they saw it, wanted to apply, they provided all their information for that. We could change that process if we'd like to. Yeah, it's up
I'm
to
not
you.
advocating for change, I'm just curious to how we drum up the business, I guess.
I would think we can put it out on social media, that the application is open, and,
Go for it, okay.
yeah, and just maybe even highlight last year's awardee to get, I don't know, drum up some interest. Yeah, yes.
Commissioner Engel, if we're having our table at the builders thing, that might be at the home, that might be a good place to, you know, mention it.
Depending on timing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Because the application's only open till,
And,
March 30th.
thank
Yeah.
you.
yeah.
so it depends when that all
Yeah.
would fit in.
Right.
Love the concept, great idea.
Right.
Calendar got in the way. Maybe it worked for 25 and not for
There-
26.
27, maybe? I don't know. Yes, Commissioner Nolan.
Chair Engel, is there, would it be worth looking at who has come to the Renaissance Board or the Downtown Planning Commissioner? Is there, like, to look through the past year or 2, 3 years to see, wouldn't it have had to go through those departments or anyone who did it?
Yeah, so I could expand on that a little bit because there was a pause in the RZ, you know, just because of some, whatever circumstances took place. And there haven't been a lot of applications for Renaissance Zone scenarios. There's been a couple smaller projects, but I don't know how it would all fit into the historic preservation side of it because, I mean, they have to do so much upgrades to those buildings to get the 5-year tax exemption, so.
Is there somebody else, like the SHPO or somebody else who would know who's doing this? Like, would people have applied for any other funding? Places we could go and, like, get a list of, here's the 5 people who did a project this year?
I think we could put out a media release, and that would include SHPO, the members of the Renaissance Zone Committee. Okay, and whoever else we would think would be able to, you know, be interested in that sort of thing.
Who is it locally? I know that Commissioner Jackson used to deal with historic tax credits. If those are involved in some of these projects, he might be able to furnish some contacts for projects that he might be aware of. We could certainly contact
Yeah.
him, and he might know other people locally that are using that.
That sounds like a good idea to get the word out.
So could we put it on the HPC's annual calendar that in December we try and find anybody who, and then be sure, in addition to a general media posting?
For sure.
So, and you know, I don't know if that falls on the staff, but if in December we try and reach out to 3 groups, then every year we might have a few names to reach out to. Yeah, hook.
For sure. All right. So for the first recommended action, the approving the revised award categories and nomination form, I know I had some notes or some questions, clarifications I'd like to make, or at least put out there. So the second page, the categories are historic building, adaptive reuse, or historic awareness and education. Most of the questions that follow relate only to historic buildings or adaptive reuse. There's very little in the way of needing to explain for the historic awareness and education. I'd like to see at least a couple of questions that they would have to answer specifically about, you know, what, if you're doing a historic education piece, what age group, the target audience, are you doing continuing education, you know, something more to flesh that out as to what they've been doing for their programming, and also what their goals were in doing that education piece, and if they met those goals with the activity. Just a little bit more robust to bring it up to standard with the rest of it.
So would you then add in that where you have your boxes to check historic awareness and education, and then just say, please include details and goals, and just do it
If I may, Chair, Commissioners, so it's difficult to tell with how this is. I did pull it from Survey 123, which is where this form is hosted on. But what I can do through that platform is I can actually set certain questions depending on how people answer at the very beginning.
Okay, that
So
sounds
I could
great.
set it up that way, which I do have it set up like that. You can't really tell in
Okay.
paper form here, but once you
Perfect.
actually use the form, it's easier to tell. So I could set
Okay.
it up that way.
And that makes more sense to you for the, I think it's the fourth page of this, that indicate how your project benefits the community. Each one of those checkboxes is more explanatory for the other major categories of these, I think. So perhaps we could nest those as well. If you've checkboxed the first one, it's like, hey, these are this is how you're going to explain why it's beneficial to the community in there. Just a little bit clearer and tightening up the process a little bit.
Or like the SOI one, the SOI standards, it's like, won't be applicable if it's educational.
Right, yeah, so, yes, Lauren?
For that one specifically, Chair, Commissioners, like I said, it's difficult to tell where you can kind of see those little eye pieces next to it. Those are related to a specific answer at the very beginning where it asks, what category are you applying for? That's the big one that generates the specific types of questions, but I wanted to see all the questions that are being
Perfect.
provided for.
Thanks.
Awesome, that makes a lot more sense then. And then whenever we are saying project, provide a description of the project being nominated, I would like to see that project/initiative or something to help pull in that education piece too, so that it's more applicable to everything, especially if it's an event. Wouldn't necessarily be a project. That's more semantics. Think that, and then if you are the owner of the building that is being nominated, is that one also going to change some of the other following questions?
For clarification, are you, Chair, Commissioners, are you talking about the last question with the acknowledgement, or?
No, it's page 2. Are you the owner of the building that is being nominated, yes or no? And then the next one is explain if you conducted the project work on support of yourself. And I think there was one other.
Would those only show up under the bullet for the historic building?
I
Yeah, there was
believe
no-
how I have it set up currently, Chair, Commissioners, is that it would be for both the historic building and adaptive reuse is where it shows up
Okay.
for.
Great. Sounds good. And then I think for one of the attachments, can you tell the field season's done and I actually have time to think this month? For that they got permission from the landowner, I want to put in written permission from the landowner so that it's very clear that we have documentation that this is acceptable and not just their word for it. That will help. All right, does anybody else have anything about the actual survey itself? No? Okay.
I move that we accept the submission, the application form for the Historic Preservation Award
With the noted changes.
with the noted changes.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? I think we killed that one, so, okay, call it Annie.
Commissioner Hull,
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sackerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zenker,
Yes.
Commissioner Nodland,
Yes,
Chair Engel.
Yes. Huzzah, 1 of 3 done. Going on to the award criteria for internal use by the selection group. I also had a few word suggestion changes, but I could share those offline. It's more just like lowering instead of erase, saying altering or lessening, and taking it down a couple notches. And under the historic awareness and education, I would like to add a bullet saying that the nominator explained, had an explanation of the education awareness and goals set forth prior to execution and how those goals were met, kind of like what I mentioned before, but just in here as a checkbox for us as a committee. Were there any other questions or comments about the review list? And I remembered from past meetings that it was going to be a ranking for like how well they did for each one of these things, but you guys just did a yes, no, or it's not applicable. Do you guys did you just go for it and did a yes, no?
Good question, Chair, Commissioners. So with the yes, no, just based on the criteria here, with the criteria being a little bit more objective rather than subjective, having a yes, no means that yes, they did meet it, no, they didn't, whereas like doing a ranking of 1 to 5 doesn't necessarily meet those objectives or indicate whether they met those objectives clearly. I think it's a little bit easier to tell. There is an additional bonus area in the event of a tiebreaker, which could help for that. But seeing as we didn't receive too many nominations last year,
Yeah.
not too sure if that would be an issue. There is the potential to have 3 awardees as well. So could happen as well.
Okay. Yeah, but by 2027, we're going to be inundated, and then we're going to have this very clearly explained. I would say instead of saying tiebreaker, then just say an indecision by the subcommittee, since we're not using a ranking for that. That would be good. Yeah. All right. Any other discussion with that? Then can I get a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the internal criteria ranking sheet with the noted changes.
I will second that.
All right. Any other discussion? No? Annie?
Commissioner Hull,
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zenker,
Yes.
Commissioner Nodland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sackerson,
Yes.
Chair Engel.
Yes. All right. Are there any volunteers to be part of the 2026 award selection? You need 2 takers. All right. Thank you, John. Yes. Amy, you want to be on too? Yay. Anybody else?
No.
We're going to have to duke it out. Then we could do arm
Only
wrestling.
take 2.
I know, but then we could arm wrestle for it.
Some of the best.
I win.
Okay, so thank you to Commissioner Sackerson and Swanson. And I think that is the end of that one. All right, moving on to the North Dakota 250 grant, however they're saying that.
Thank you again, Chair Engel and Commissioners. City staff, Historic Preservation Commissioners, Hull and Pursley, and representatives from other community organizations have met twice so far to discuss the preparation for the 250th anniversary, as well as to identify some potential celebratory activities or events. At the last meeting for that group, it was determined that the City of Bismarck would apply for the ND 250 Community Initiatives Grant to fund a public art project, specifically an art and heritage discovery walk. So what this will do, it will include art and heritage discovery signs that will have a QR code, which will link to virtual versions of local literary, visual, or performance arts related to North Dakota's history and culture from the past 250 years. So each link will provide a narrative on the art form and will describe how it celebrates the past 250 years of North Dakota's people, places, innovations, and achievements contributing to the nation's history. So some potential locations could include planter boxes within downtown. There's currently several signs located within there, so it would be a good opportunity to capitalize on what's currently there. Some potential other locations could include the parks or potentially even the airport, depending on discussions with those entities. If grant funding is awarded, further discussions with other city departments like administration, public health, potentially the airport, would occur, as well as other members from Dakota West Arts Council, Bismarck Parks and Recreation District, and the Downtowners, just to name a few. So the project would support strategies 1.8 and 2.1b within Bismarck's recently adopted Arts and Culture Plan, as well as the draft objective 3B within the current draft of the Historic Preservation Plan. And that includes developing materials, programs, or areas that help bolster Bismarck's heritage tourism. Both plans call out strategies to create interactive and educational opportunities for residents and visitors to experience the arts, culture, history, and heritage of Bismarck. So planning staff intend to submit an application for $10,000. It's the max allowed by that grant. And that would include funds for the production of the signs, sign materials, as well as artist design fees / stipends, and the art background of the signs that would be used. So there is a 20% local match required for this grant. However, volunteers from the community during the planning process or additional work like combining the sign panels and posts could be included for that match. And it can be similar to how our board does our Historic Preservation Fund grant, utilizing that as donated labor. So the request to apply was forwarded to the City Commission for approval at its December 16th meeting, which was reviewed and approved last night. This will still need to go for approval via the city's typical process for any grant application. So it still needs to go through that process. The Historic Preservation Commission is being notified of the city's intent to apply for that specific grant since it has been part of assisting with the 250th anniversary efforts for next year.
Great.
Just an update there.
Thank you, Lauren. Any questions for her? Yes, Mr. Nodlin.
Chair Engel, and my question is, if this is projects which would occur in 2026, and is it specifically for the posts and signs that would mark the downtown tour and other areas that would go up in 2026?
Commissioner Nodlin, Chair Commissioners, that is correct, yes.
Okay, so it's not for art projects, it's for marking what we already have.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. So it would be highlighting different art forms. So it could be visual arts, it could be recordings of performances, both musical as well as dance or other similar productions. It wouldn't necessarily be located in next to buildings or places that are specifically historic or what we've already identified as historic buildings, but the theme and what would be solicited through an art RFP that would be related to this would be calling out how those art pieces that are being identified, how they enhance or reflect Bismarck's history. So it could be a local rendition or a poetry reading from local authors, kind of showcasing that history there. It could be an interpretation of Bismarck's past, either of a person, a landscape, something similar to that. So it has a multitude of how it could be utilized and showcasing Bismarck's history, but it's not specifically calling out or related to what we've currently done with this commission here.
I'm not sure that, so I'm just trying to read and understand here. So it sounds like it could be either or. So in this fourth paragraph where it says it would create an interactive art tour through downtown and other areas, in addition to creating an educational opportunity for residents to experience those things. So I guess what I'm hearing you say is it can be a live event, it could be any number of these things that you mentioned, and that it's things that are it's yet to be determined what will be included as the places or events that might be visited.
Correct. I feel like, Commissioner Nolan, Chair Commissioners, I feel like what we are determining for what we'll be linking to with those QR codes will be determined through that selection process, through the ART RFP that will be placed,
So
or
there's-
part of this.
Posts with QR codes,
Yes,
okay. And the QR codes link to lots of things?
yes.
Okay, so the $10,000 is for the posts with QR codes?
And-
And the events?
And the artist stipends.
Okay. Okay. Or historians, or other heritage and cultural history things?
I-
So if we have a speaker a historian who could present, that would be not just an artist stipend, but a,
There is, Commissioner Nodland, Chair Commissioners, there's a lot of openness to the literary aspect for art. So I believe there is an opportunity there to have a historian or another individual who would want to provide some sort of presentation
okay, cool.
related to that, so.
Okay,
Very cool.
thank you.
All right. Sounds good. We will move on then to the South Capitol survey update.
Thank you again, Chair and Commissioners. So there is nothing currently within the agenda packet. Staff did meet with Emily Sackerson of South Fork Historical Research on Monday this week for an update on the project. At the beginning of the meeting, you were provided with an attachment. I'll get into that shortly. So I just want to provide some of the update that was discussed between staff and our consultant for the project. So Ms. Sackerson is currently working on the reconnaissance forms for each of the properties. As you may remember, we do have over 100 properties here, close to 200, give or take a little bit. You were provided 20 forms previously. You've reviewed that. SHPO has received them. They've provided some minor corrections to those as well. So for the additional reconnaissance forms that Ms. Sackerson is working on, attachment pages are finished and formatted. Sanborn maps, where possible, those are included, and at least one early owner occupant has been identified for approximately all of the sites except about 15 of those. Through discussions with Ms. Sackerson related to that, one aspect that the HPC may be able to help with is if you were provided with a list of those early occupants, if you have any information related to them that could support any information in those forms, it may be requested of this commission just to have a look. But that would be provided in the future if possible. 13 sites, as included in that attachment I provided you, are vacant lots, and Ms. Sackerson would prefer not to record them with an individual NDCRS form, but instead provide a summary with recommendations within the actual report. 3 of those already have SITS numbers documenting the houses that were once on the property, and she plans to update those within the NDCRS database to indicate the sites have been destroyed, so those would be updated. 2 sites in the list at the bottom of that page I provided you are modern, dating from 2005 and 2008. She would prefer not to record those as well, as they're not yet of age to be considered historical cultural resources. One of those has a SITS number documenting a former residence no longer extant, which she has noted that she will update as well in the database. Additionally, we have created a flyer similar to the postcards that were sent out to properties within the survey area. We have sent that out to Trinity Lutheran, St. George's, Zion Lutheran, as well as the public library, asking if they would be willing to put them up just till the end of January, just to see if there's any additional information that we can receive for properties within the area. Additionally, Bismarck Historical Society plans to include a small bit of information on the project in their next quarterly newsletter. So those are just the updates for that project for you guys.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. Any questions about the South Capitol survey? Seems like it's going well. That's good. That is the regular agenda. I know of 2 other business items that we're going to be putting on there. One is a resolution of appreciation. Whereas James Scooter Persley has served as a member of the Bismarck Historical Preservation Commission for the past year, and whereas during this time he has represented the interests of the residents of the city of Bismarck, and whereas Mr. Persley has given freely of his time and expertise in the many matters considered by the commission, and whereas during his term of office on the Historic Preservation Commission, Mr. Persley has distinguished himself for fair deliberation and common sense decision-making. And whereas Mr. Persley will now leave the Historic Preservation Commission for a well-deserved rest, now therefore be it resolved by the Bismarck Historic Preservation Commission that James Scooter Persley be commended for his dedication and his support for the historic preservation of Bismarck, and that the appreciation of the Historic Preservation Commission be extended to him. Thank you. Even though he's not here, I'm sure he'll watch the minutes and see that we're thanking him. But how about we have a round of applause for him? All right. The next one is going to be an update about the downtown survey.
Thank you again. So just a quick item here. So our RFP solicitation ends this Friday at 5 p.m. We have received a couple proposals. So Commissioner Nodland and Commissioner Zanker, as part of the selection committee, I'll be sending those over to you for review within the next couple weeks. Given the holiday season, no rush on those. And this item with the final selection will be provided to the Historic Preservation Commission at its next meeting.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. Any other business that we have not discussed yet? All right. Hearing none, we're going to adjourn. The next meeting is January 21st, 2026, right here in the Tom Baker Room. Thank you all.